What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Terminally Online Pen Pals podcast. That's our show. Thank you very much for joining us. Make sure to follow us on Instagram and TikTok.
Don't forget to donate on Ko-fi.
Whatever, like and subscribe. All right. Cue the lo-fi beat.
All right.
Hey, I'm Emilio.
Hey, I'm Ryan.
And welcome to the Terminally Online Pen Pals podcast.
We're two friends that have only ever met through the internet.
Join us as we talk about our lives in this epic show.
And the show starts now. There we go, another excellent episode of the podcast, guys. You all got pranked, even though we're far past April 1st at this point, even though this is the month of April. Welcome back to another episode of the podcast with Ryan and Emilio as always. And if you're wondering what that squeal was there for the audio, Emilio finally hit puberty. So, and it's definitely not a dog.
At what point do you go bald? Anyways, guys, welcome back to another classic episode. We are so back.
Hell yeah. Back and better than ever.
I don't know if you wanted to go ahead, Ryan, and tell us, what were you up to the last 2 weeks?
Wow, these are very eventful 2 weeks that I've been up to since we last did one of these episodes. I know, you guys, get ready for some epic updates. Trying to think of any epic updates that I could say about the past 2 weeks. Unfortunately, guys, the more I think about it, the more I realize how truly boring they were. Ultimately,
you got 2 weeks.
The thing is, these past 2 weeks, man, the only thing that's been really notable recently, I mean, I've been going to work, all my usual stuff, doing some house renovations. No major house update this week, guys. Sorry for those of you who are big fans of that here on the show. Disappointing house update. The fact that there is no update for this episode. Just been doing some more general work that I described in the last episode. I know, I'm sorry to disappoint you guys, but, I'm not going to lie. There's no big update this time around. But generally, these past 2 weeks have been kind of mellow for me personally. Outside of work and a few other day trips and events that I've been to, I did go out of town a few separate days, tried out a few restaurants, and visited some locations I've never really been to before, including a new Mexican restaurant that I checked out. That was actually my favorite Mexican restaurant now. And has the best restaurant queso I've ever tried. So that was a bit of a fun experience there. But outside of some day trips and some general work around the house and my job, nothing really too exciting these past few weeks, unfortunately. That being said, however, Emilio, I assume that you've been up to some more fun activities these past few weeks.
Once again, I must carry the burden of entertaining you guys for 30 minutes. Yes, guys, as we talked about in the last episode,
it's really hard.
I went to see Olivia Rodrigo midweek concert. It was on Wednesday. It was pretty cool. The concert was in Mexico City, so like 5 hours away from where I live. It was a great experience, honestly. Like, I don't have any complaints or like any like funny anecdotes.
Oh, I think there is one interesting thing that came out of it. One complaint: the fact they let you into the concert in the first place. I think that's a big complaint right off the bat.
I paid. So
I
got to do whatever I want, and sorry, I just like to have interesting stories for the podcast. And but yeah, it was really a good show. So far, it was a good show. There was a lot of controversy leading up to it because apparently she was giving a shorter show in Latin America compared to the one that she gave in Europe and the States. Which it later turned out that it was just one song shorter. And to be honest, it's a song that I don't even like. So I was fine.
We would play it for you guys, but we don't want this video to get taken down on YouTube.
Yeah, I think it was The Grudge. If those good, you guys who know it, you know. But yeah, it was my first time going to a concert outside of my city, a major artist. I had gone maybe B-list musicians here in my hometown, but now I want to see a very big artist. My cousin, she came along. She has a lot more experience in concerts, and so Olivia Rodrigo started, I think, just 10 minutes late, and she told me that one time she went to see Justin Bieber, and he got there an hour and a half late. They had to helicopter him in, and
he was really too busy getting arrested, like he was pretty well known for years back.
I mean,
just got bailed out of jail.
I think it's just he's a celebrity. I think he would be I really don't care about the show. I already got paid.
Probably not.
And apparently, according to my cousin, halfway through the concert, he just started lip syncing because he couldn't keep up with the rhythm of the show.
I mean, that sounds about right. Actually, it's a common thing a lot of artists do for one reason or the other at these concerts.
I mean, I think it'd be. I mean, I can laugh at it right now, but I imagine my cousin was pretty angry because concert tickets are stupid expensive. Shout out to Ticketmaster.
Yes, they are.
So you'd be pretty pissed off. Like for example, this show was $300 a ticket, and imagine if she just showed up late, started lip syncing. That'd be pretty fucking lame.
It's cool, $2,000 down the drain. I'm sure that's probably not how much it cost, but still, all that money's gone.
Yeah. Especially if you come out of town like we did and it was that type of show, I'd be pretty disappointed. But it was a pretty good show. I do not have any complaints. I really, really enjoyed it. It went without any major incidents, which I guess it was a weird month for concerts in Mexico City, because apparently the week before that, Zayn Malik had a few shows in the city, and he had to cancel the last day because he got food poisoning. So disappointing. And then there was a music festival that weekend, and that got shut down because a structure fell on top of two photographers and killed them. Yeah.
Is Mexico City jinxed for concerts or something? I mean, one disaster after the other.
I mean, I think the Zayn Malik case was just he wasn't
bad sushi or something.
I think if you're going over to do because you're there for work essentially, right? And
sure.
you got to take it easy, right? Because the next day you have to do another show, and the music festival. What happened was that they wanted to put these huge structures to show the different parts of the festival, and someone said, well, we don't have enough budget to lift these huge ass signs, so we're just gonna use one of those lifts they use at Costco.
Yeah,
those things that are meant for the indoors. And they didn't consider that they're designed for the indoors, so if even just the slightest amount of wind hit it, it could knock it down.
I mean, they have some interesting designs for using those at public venues, or even for personal use for a lot of people. I mean,
you shouldn't use them. You shouldn't use them in public venues. Why would you do that?
I don't know. Well, here's the thing, though. They are commercial use, but they're also personal use. For instance, Emilio uses it to reach the top shelf of his kitchen, for example, because, his height and everything else. We won't call it out too much here on the show. But
Ryan is YouTube Shorts.
I can understand why.
Short and unoriginal. Anyways, guys. So this big tragedy happened. So, yeah, a bit of a flop month for concerts in Mexico City. Shout out to them, I guess.
Shout out to concerts.
Shout out to concerts. And then I got home, and I had to catch a flight for a work trip. But I can't really talk about that one. Even though I think I had a lot of more, I guess, interesting experiences on the trip. More so than on previous work trips. but I
You know
can't
what
talk
this
about
means,
it.
right? Kofi exclusive. That's what that
Kofi
means.
exclusive.
Hell
Unless
yeah.
it's one of my bosses listening to the show, and it's a
In which
joke.
case, it's
It's a
in which
joke.
case, for legal reasons, that's a joke.
I mean, I could talk about it later, but yeah,
When's the statute of limitations?
later in the month, or I don't know, depends
That's fair.
on when sort of this project comes out, and yeah, that was sort of my 2 weeks. I got in about 2 days ago. I still haven't unpacked my suitcase. So yeah, that's everything you guys missed.
Procrastination, right here on the Terminally Online Pen Pals podcast, guys. Do it.
I'm like, this was a throwaway week, guys. I was like, okay, so I'm back home midweek. I went to my friend's. Well, I've explained how it works here when you get your degree in Mexico. So you have your graduation and then you have your degree ceremony. My friends finally got their degrees. They took a different path. They had to take an extra course where they, for a semester, they designed a project using what they learned during the 4 years. So essentially, they just paid for an extra semester of college. Yeah. So yeah, they got their degrees. So I went to that yesterday. It was fun. It was weird going back to my old school because I graduated about a year ago and it already looks completely different.
I mean that would make sense. And that's pretty epic there, buddy.
It feels like the meme where it's like graduates the school and they just renovate all of it and it's like a lot nicer. It was also pretty weird because I didn't, like, now I don't recognize anybody. Like, I recognized my friends, right?
Sure.
Because when it was my graduation ceremony and my degree ceremony, obviously I recognized everyone because most of the people were from the same graduating class, regardless of what the major was. So it was
kind of how it is for me,
it was just really weird. It's like there's people here that are like 10 years older than me that like waited forever to finally get their degree, or well, maybe they didn't wait, but you know, life gets in the way sometimes. But
sometimes it does.
But yeah, it's just like I feel like I'm at a different school. Like I don't know, it was weird.
It's like the landscape completely changes. I've had that experience at like high school reunions and walking down the street like about 10 years after I saw some of these people during my senior year in like 2017. Now seeing them at local events in the community, they just look completely different. Some have kids, some are in prison. So there's a lot of different avenues people can take in life. And it's funny, buddy, that you mentioned earlier about your concert experience, by the way, too, because while you said that you had nothing you wanted to complain about, I have a lot of complaints about going to concerts.
Well, it's a Nickleback concert, Ryan. What do you expect?
It's not because of the band. I won't take all this Nickleback hating. These people are very talented.
Look at this photograph.
And this is how we got copyright claimed. Thanks, buddy.
Because it sounds exactly like him.
The name.
Oh, I have an even funnier concert anecdote. Back at my old college, they had the singing contest every year. And a classmate we had that everyone hated this guy. Like this guy, he went on a national competition on like one of those like you know, X Factor, America's Got Talent type shows. And apparently, I've never watched one of those shows, so I don't really know if it's true. But apparently, he made the cut. And this guy felt like he was like Justin Bieber and could show up an hour and a half late to the show. So anyways, this event... Yeah.
And so that's probably why you didn't see him at any of these shows if you haven't watched him. He was an hour and a half late and they just kicked him off right before he even started.
So anyways, he thought he was like the shit. He thought he was like the next prodigy in singing. And everybody fucking hated him. So this show was live streamed. And anyway, so he has his chance to sing. And someone cuts his mic from the live stream. So you can't hear it. And
it's like, look at this.
And then when he complains to the producers, they say, it got copyright claim, man. You sang so much like the original that Facebook thought we were playing the
You're
original
just so
song.
good, we can't afford to be sued because you sound similar to this other artist. So, you need to get out of here, man. You're good, but you're too much of a liability. I've never heard of that being an excuse to get somebody off a freaking concert stage. It's basically saying you're a bad artist, but we don't want to directly insult you. So here's some backwards ass reason why you're cut from the show.
I would have been just like, I hate you. And get out of my show. You should have been nicer. It was actually pretty ironic because the backstage gossip, apparently he was giving tips to everyone on how to improve, and he didn't make it past the first round.
Oh my gosh. It goes to show. I'll tell you guys this though too. As far as I may have been exaggerating a little bit ago before Emilio's anecdote. I don't have a ton of complaints when it comes to concerts, and I don't mean the band. In terms of the actual experience, because Emilio told me a few years back on our old Redacted show about some concert events that he attended. And up until that point, it was always a bucket list item of mine to at least experience one concert, to see a band that I at least liked at one point, because I was curious. I never got to see a concert before, right? I was curious. Hey, Nickleback was actually, believe it or not, I didn't choose to go and see Nickleback. I was actually invited along last year to a Nickleback concert by my best friend,
Mark Zuckerberg and Ryan Bittner, like Nickleback.
Yes.
Let the record straight.
I think Nickelback's a fine band. They're not one of my favorites by any means, but there are some classic songs of theirs I grew up listening to, like the Photograph one that Emilio got his copyright claimed with earlier.
It sounds like the original.
I do exactly like the original. But I think Nickelback's a fine band, but the reason I went along was because my best friend invited me on a trip to actually go and see the band, as well as his then fiance as well. So, yeah, I ended up third wheeling with them on the trip when they invited me. So they invited me to go along on the trip. We all pitch in for our ticket concert money. Nickelback actually wasn't that expensive when we went on their Torn Around America tour, I believe it was called. It was about $200, $250 roughly for a ticket, which wasn't horrible.
And was it at least a nice seat? Like, or at least a nice part of the venue?
Actually, it was. It was actually a nice venue. It was near the stage, so we were in the inner pit, right near the stage, so it was good seating as well for the ticket price, which was good. Plus, they had huge TV monitors all around the arena in Hershey Park, which is where this was at. This was in Hershey, Pennsylvania,
like
where the
concert was held at. Bar.
It was right by the Chocolate Bar amusement park as well. For those of you guys who live in the States and have visited there before, it's the amusement park built by the Hershey Chocolate Company. So they were holding in Hershey Stadium, and we drove in my buddy's convertible with the top-down roof and everything on a little road trip. Yeah, it was fancy, man.
All
drove about
American
3 hours.
Road trip.
Old school American road trip. Hell yeah. We drove for about 3 hours to actually get out there to the concert venue. And the plan was to see the concert there that day, stay the night at a hotel, and then head back the next day. That way we wouldn't be staying there too long. My buddy's mom actually won a free hotel room through some kind of raffle or something along those lines. It was one of these systems where she made enough purchases through a certain company or business where she was awarded a free hotel room for a night. Naturally, I don't want to seem like I'm mooching off of them or anything else.
It basically does.
I basically paid my way in.
I made them laugh the entire drive there.
Exactly. That's the tip, like we talked about several episodes ago. But we basically had access to this free hotel room for the night. It wasn't anything too fancy, but it didn't need to be. It was just nice of them to invite me along in the first place. That being said, we actually get there to Hershey Stadium around midday, end up going and waiting in a long line. This is one thing I didn't expect for any type of concert, the several-hour wait that we had. Because Hershey Park was closing around that time, so there was a lot of traffic going in and out of the actual arena. We spent a few hours waiting to actually get into the concert venue, and we were just standing there bored the entire time. When we finally get through security and we make our way into the... It's something a little unexpected for me. But we end up getting into where they're selling merchandise and they have a bunch of food. And this is where my big complaint comes in before the show even starts. The price of everything at a fucking concert. When we were there, I purchased 3 things. a hot dog, a bottle of water, and a ball cap that had the Tor logo plastered on top of it. All of that cost me around $50, which is freaking
That was
insane to me.
incredibly cheap.
That
you know
is
how much
really
I spent?
expensive, though,
You
man.
want to know how much I spent on just a hoodie and a shirt?
How much?
$100.
Holy shit! I feel like you got scammed. I don't think that stuff would have been worth $100.
That's just live events. That's just.
Oh gosh. That's the hot dog alone that I purchased just for a brief lunch. That one alone was around, I think, like $15. The bottle of water cost around 10 or so, 10, 15. The hat was the bulk of my personal purchase. It was like 50 to 60, somewhere in there. The hat's nice. I still have it to this day, but charging $40 for a hat, I don't know about that.
That's a lot. But I mean, that's just every live
much.
event. I feel like that's something you kind of have to.
I mean, I'm sure it's to be expected.
Yeah.
They're going to mark up a bunch of stuff. It's not like you go down to a gas station where they have dollar hot dogs that now cost $20 going to a live event or a concert.
Oh, so, I was like, hot dogs cost $20 now.
That's no, thankfully no. The economy's not that bad as of this podcast, but maybe in the future. But anyway, yeah. So that was one thing I encountered right off the bat that I didn't expect was the price hike. But I was hungry, so we.
I mean, it was your first concert, right? So
yeah, this is my first concert, which was kind of unexpected to me a little bit. So we ended up getting our stuff, going into the arena. We had some good seats and everything else, and the show starts. There were a number. Now, the actual performance itself with Nickleback, that was actually a pretty fun performance. I enjoyed the band, enjoyed a lot of their songs and everything, but I encountered some very oddball people while we were sitting there in the stands for the type of crowd that you encounter at some of these live events. There was a dude next to me as well as his girlfriend. The first thing that the guy asked me when we took our seats was, "Hey, dude, do you know if we can smoke in here by any chance?" When there was a sign right above us that had a no smoking sign that was completely crossed out next to us. And I told him, "I have no idea, dude. I've never been here." "Oh, it's okay." Whips out a vape, blows the smoke in my face and my buddy's face.
Oh, that means he wants to kiss you.
Yeah, his girlfriend was next to him though, and I didn't want to insult the man's honor or anything. It's just not the type of guy that I am. I'm not Mr. Steal Your Girl. I'm also not Mr. Steal Your Guy. But I am neither of those things.
I mean, I heard someone asking if they could vape but not smoke, and the usher was like, "I have no idea."
Yeah, we didn't know either, to be honest, because later in the concert, while the guy's vaping it up, at one point the guy goes shirtless, takes his shirt off right by me, and throws it into the freaking crowd. His girlfriend, at the same time, almost fell and sat in my lap and collapsed on me whenever she was trying to go by. Yeah, they were very tight chairs and corridors in each part of the concert venue. So his girlfriend's going by. She slips and almost falls directly on me and knocks me backwards in the chair. All the while, the guy's drinking a beer, shirtless, standing on top of his freaking chair partying. And she's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry about that." I'm like, "End this concert now, please. Is this close to being done?" Which it was just some of the people.
You just sound like a hater, man. People were just enjoying the concerts.
Nothing against Nickleback. I think it was a very fun event and concert. But some of the iffy parts to me were just some of the people I encountered. At the end of the day, after we packed up, the concert was actually really fun. I enjoyed the experience overall. Definitely lost my voice. It took us about an hour or two just to leave the parking lot after it was done because of all the people that were packed and crammed in. The worst part about it for all three of us is we were sharing a one-room hotel room, but there was no food or anything else nearby. So the only thing that we could think to do was, well, it's 2 a.m. What are we going to do now? Roll by good old Mickey D's, eat a late-night dinner, and then we crashed to the hotel room before we left the next morning. It was a fun experience, I would say overall. It's, again, the pricing and then some of the crowd and just kind of how busy it was. But I don't want to say detractors from the experience, but they were definitely not pleasant parts. But I enjoyed spending time with my friends. It was a fun concert. Nickleback haters out there, you can suck it. They're not as bad a band as what everyone makes them out to be. I'm not going to say they're the best band of all time because they're not, but they're also not the worst band either.
Look at this one. Well, it was free, so. Leech.
It wasn't free. I paid for my own stuff. I paid for my own ticket. I didn't leech off the trip and get a free ride, guys. I'm not a mooch. I was a third wheel, but I wasn't a mooch.
No. Well, what a cool story. Let's like talk for another 20 minutes so I can like cut it out, and then the episode is done.
Let's fill it up with some other content. Like, okay, let's find something else to talk about. That's a cool.
I mean, I feel like you just had an average concert experience.
It's kind of, for me, it was different because a lot of people that I know have never been to concerts before, and a lot of people, when I talk to them about going to one, are extremely intimidated by it for some reason. Whether it's the crowd, traveling long distance to get there.
My friend got beaten up at a Foster the People concert.
Jeez.
Yeah. So she was right in front of the stage, and at one point the drummer, he went to throw like his drumsticks to the crowd, and my friend caught them. And some other girl, said, "No, those drumsticks are mine," and beat the crap out of my friend. And the drummer from Foster the People just went like,
it's like, oh, well, oopsie doopsie, sorry.
But it got worse for my friend because when she took the subway back to the hotel, she got like pickpocketed. So they stole her phone. So she lost all the pictures from the concert.
Better run, faster.
That's a good concert story, Ryan. You should tell more stories.
Yeah, I mean,
you can steal my friend's story. You could say, "I killed the guy that took his shirt off," and that's how we improve the anecdote.
I don't know. See,
I killed a man at a Nickleback concert. ...
Gone wrong. Gone sexual. Gone sexual. I mean, the guy did take his shirt off, so you could technically argue that angle, I guess. No, nothing like that. I didn't meet the love of my life or anything while I was there, guys. The funny thing was, I remember when I posted a picture to Instagram about it being my first ever concert, and I mentioned, really cool to be here, guys. It was a really fun event. I was sitting in the stands wearing the hat. My buddy sees the picture after I posted on Instagram, and he's like, dude, you're taking credit for this trip, but it was actually my idea to bring you along here. And I'm like, that wasn't the case. I was just saying how fun it was for the concert. So, again, I was not mooching on this trip, guys. I promise.
It sounds kind of like you were.
I bought all my own stuff, my ticket. I paid everybody back who may have bought stuff.
5 years later.
5 years later. It's been a year.
If you want to help us in achieving this goal, you can follow us on Instagram and TikTok at TOPP.pod. That's at top.pod on both websites. You can also like and subscribe. Comment how we should call Madison Square Garden now.
Square Madison Garden.
Or just comment which concerts you've been to. And is there other people that like Nickelback? I'm actually kind of surprised. I think we have. We've met the only 3 people.
Put one of us in the comments if you're a Nickelback fan. We won't throw stuff, I promise.
Or for SEO purposes, put like the entire Wikipedia page of Nickelback. That helps us out a lot more.
Make yourselves known.
Subscribe. Donate to Ko-fi.
Yeah. Follow us on all the socials, guys. Thank you for checking out this awesome episode about our concert experiences and the culture of live shows. Tuning in once again for another episode of the Terminally Online Pen Pals podcast. Thank you guys so much. This has been Ryan and Shorty McGee signing off.
Why did you say Ryan twice?
Damn it.